Heavy tanks are the main striking force of a team, used specifically to plow through enemy defenses. Vehicles of this type can take a lot of hits, but they're equally good at dishing out punishment. Today we're going to talk about the most interesting tanks of the class available in War Thunder, the true heavyweight champions of the battlefield. The British Carnarvon is an early prototype of the Conqueror, fitted with a turret and a 20-pounder taken from the Centurion MBT. The Carnarvon features an extra thick upper frontal plate and a quick-firing, stabilized cannon with access to sub-caliber rounds. 10 degrees of depression give the tank a lot of flexibility on uneven terrain, and we suggest that you should really focus on hull-down positioning. Due to its low max speed and a low-power engine, the Carnarvon isn't really that mobile anyways. The Tiger II needs no introduction. There are several variants of this tank available in War Thunder, each with its own set of strengths and weaknesses. Today, though, we're going to talk about the most well-balanced of them all, the Tiger II with the late turret and the long-barreled 88mm gun. High-explosive projectiles fired by 85 and 90mm cannons can only pierce its frontal defenses through a machine gun port. More powerful guns can punch through turret cheeks, but it's still far from being a real weak spot. The Tiger II is no slouch in the firepower department either. Its 88mm KWK-43 cannon is one of the best guns at rank 4. The Soviet IS-4 is one of the most dreaded opponents for rank 5 vehicles. Its armor can easily bounce solid shot, high explosive, and even early sub-caliber rounds, while its own D25 cannon can send most opponents back to their hangar in just one hit. Just keep in mind that it takes the gun more than 20 seconds to reload, so be careful so that you don't find yourself in a pickle down the road. The American T1E1 is a rank 3 rock star. While its armor is nothing to really write home about, the massive crew and the overall layout of the tank allow it to take a lot of punishment. The T1E1 is armed with a 76mm gun that comes with a vertical stabilizer, and you also have an additional 37mm gun that comes in handy from time to time. Furthermore, this heavy tank has surprisingly good mobility for its size and is really fast in reverse. The French B1 Bis is one of the most well-armored rank 2 tanks. It is protected by almost 60mm of steel all around, including your sides and the rear. When using the B1, you can simply disregard enemies with low-caliber guns. Their shells will just bounce off your armor like pellets. Despite this degree of indestructibility, you have to be really clever to be effective, as both the 47mm gun in the turret and the hull-mounted 75mm cannon have pretty low penetration rates. The M4A3E2 Jumbo, with a 76mm cannon, is a heavy, up-armored variant of the Sherman. In a down tier, you can be very bold and aggressive, as even Tigers and Panthers will have to rely on hitting your weak spots to stop your rampage. If you're fighting against more modern tanks, then you can rely on your stabilizer and mobility to carry you through the day. In some combat scenarios, the Jumbo serves as an excellent assault tank. Sometimes it's more effective as a medium tank, but it always performs well, regardless of the circumstances. The American T26E5 and the T32 are both based on the Pershing, and both play a lot like the original M26. When fighting one-on-one, they do really well thanks to their sturdy frontal armor. Furthermore, their gun depression and elevation angles are pretty good, allowing you to use terrain to your advantage. The T26E5 and the T32 are well-defended, well-armed, and pretty mobile all at the same time, which is a pretty rare combination for any class of armored vehicles. At the same time, the duo also share a single, pretty noticeable flaw. With all their firepower, they can still struggle a bit with penetrating enemy defenses. Obviously, we've barely scratched the surface with this list. In War Thunder, there are lots of rare vehicles of this type. The Soviet IS-7 and the Object 279 are heavies that incorporate cutting-edge technologies of their time, striking a surprising balance between armor, mobility, and firepower. The American M6A2E1 is an excellent assault tank for people that like to bounce shots with their frontal armor. Finally, the Maus and the E100 are basically German moving fortresses. They're slow, sluggish, and deadly. But what are your favorite tanks? Tell us in the comments below.